enterprises in your bathroom, in your kitchen, in your brain. Bernie and Sid in the morning. Enable and open 77 WABC.
Can't help but think what an incredible metaphor this room is for the entire process that getting health care and benefits for 9/11 first responders has come to. Behind me, a filled room of 9/11 first responders, and in front of me, a nearly empty Congress. Sick and dying, they brought themselves down here to speak to no one. It's shameful. It's an embarrassment to the country, and it is a stain on this institution.
Wow. What a tremendous job. Never liked his politics. Didn't even watch him on Comedy Central, but my God, he's my hero now. Jon Stewart. And he was there yesterday. You heard him sitting there with Luis Alvarez. That is a heartbreaking picture and video of a man that is now about to go through chemo for the 69th time.
Yep, former NYPD.
Oh, yeah, former hero. Oh, still a hero, excuse me. Anyway, a guy that does care about all of this. He was there yesterday, and he's only concerned about protecting this country and doing the right thing, and that's why he's our favorite politician. The great Congressman Peter King set to join us right now. Peter, good morning, pal. How are you?
Morning, Sid. Good morning, Bernie. How you guys doing?
Great. Listen, before we get to this 9/11 stuff from yesterday, one local question for you. I'm about to watch the Bruins take on the St. Louis Blues tonight in Game 7 of these very exciting Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'm looking forward to the Islanders next home. What is Belmont ready to go? What's the future with that?
I certainly hope so. I mean, to me, to have lost a major league franchise like the Islanders in the first place to Brooklyn was indefensible. Now you have the second chance. It's ideal location. The Islanders are a Long Island team. For whatever reason, they haven't taken off in Brooklyn. It's a different fan base. People on Long Island love the Islanders. The enthusiasm in the Coliseum is enormous when they're there. And the arena at Belmont will be far superior to the Coliseum. Get them on Long Island. They belong there. And, again, they have to find a way to get it done. That's all. It's as simple as that.
So, Congressman Peter King, yes, we agree with that sentiment. Get it done. Speaking of which, the Victim Compensation Fund for these 9/11 heroes expected to run out at the end of 2020, by 2021. And even right now, they're running out of money. Unexpected claims come up and this and that. They're actually cutting down people's awards at this point. So tell us, yesterday, Jon Stewart, you and him were down at Ground Zero a couple of days ago, over the weekend, and then yesterday in front of Congress, and Jon Stewart lectured Congress like nobody else. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, first of all, Bernie, I'm a lot like you. There's very few issues that Jon Stewart and I would agree on. We always kid each other about that. But the fact is, he has been phenomenal on the whole issue of health care, health benefits to 9/11 victims, the Victims Compensation Fund. This goes back to 2010, 2015, when we had the first series of fights on this. He was really a tremendous help, and he's really totally nonpartisan. There's no cheap shots when it comes to Jon Stewart. Yesterday, we had a hearing before a subcommittee of the Judiciary Committee, and again, there was a small attendance. Now, in fairness, it's not quite as bad as Jon Stewart made it out to be. The reason I say that is those empty seats you saw, they were for members of the other subcommittees. That was for the full committee. They weren't scheduled to be there yesterday. So it should have been the whole top row should have been filled. That was only, for the most part, half filled. But what it did show was there is not that interest, the intensity. Believe me, if this was something about children being taken away at the border, or if this was some issue that the liberals are inflamed about, or even some issue that the conservatives are inflamed about, that place would have been filled. And even people who aren't on the subcommittee still would have shown up to get their face on television. The 9/11, too many people, for a long time, this was just considered a New York and New Jersey issue. We had a fight like hell. So it was 8 years to get the first bill through in 2010. All on time it took us to get it through. Then we had a fight to get it renewed in 2015. It's a lot easier now. We have 330 co-sponsors. It is going to pass the House, but the intensity is not there. Somehow this is considered either New York or New Jersey, or it's ancient history. And that's why it was so important to have those victims. And I hate to call them victims, because they're not victims. They're tough fighting people who've been wounded. But they are... Louis Alvarez, and I have to say, I mean, just in the last few months, to see the deterioration was really sad. But these are people who are fighting day in and day out to live. These are people who are going through the worst type of suffering, and their families are going through it. And like when I testified yesterday, I said it's spread so far. I've gotten a call from a local reporter who was down at Ground Zero, who has now been diagnosed with 9/11 cancer. He's going through chemotherapy. So this spreads far and wide. It's not just cops. It's not just firefighters. It's not just Port Authority cops. It's not just court officers or correction officers or construction workers. It's people who live in the neighborhood. People who went to local schools. And it's never gotten the intensity. When it does pass, when we did get it through in 2010, when we did get it through in 2015, it was almost as if they were doing us a favor. This is okay. New York's entitled to this. We'll give it to them type thing. Nothing about what a great thing it is to help these brave men and women. These people truly are heroes. I hate using the word heroes because it's sort of trivialized, but it really implies, in this case. Jon Stewart, again, it was not quite as bad yesterday as he portrayed it to be. Having said that, it's been even worse over the years. So when he said it was a metaphor, it's true. It really was. Because, again, you go to the average member of Congress, even if they end up voting for it, they're barely aware of what it's all about.
Sad. Congress, yeah.
To calm New York down.
Yeah. Congressman Peter King with us. So I know, and Bernie knows, we both know, that you're for this. You've been fighting for this. Some other of our locals were there, Peter, with you yesterday. Carolyn Maloney out of Manhattan. Max Rose out of Staten Island. Our good friend Lee Zeldin out of Shirley, Long Island. They were there, too. Local politicians. I haven't heard much out of those three about this. Are they as adamant and as enthusiastic as you are about getting something done?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing in Congress. I mean, Max Rose has come in last year, and actually this year. Lee came in 2014, but since they've been there, they've been involved. But again, Carolyn Maloney and I, and Jerry Nadler, again, it's bipartisan. We don't agree on many other issues. We agree. We've been fighting tooth and nail for this. We've really been through the wars on this. I'm talking about going back to 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, when we people like Anthony Weiner carrying on. I mean, this went on. The fights we had. In fact, we didn't get this approved until the last vote on the last day of Congress in 2010. That was when we finally got this through the first time, and then they put restrictions on it. It would only last 5 years, so we had to do it again in 2015. And that also was one of the last votes. I think it was on a Saturday morning or a Friday morning that we got it done in December of 2015. And the reason it's running out of money right now, by the way, is not really anyone's fault. In 2015, when this was extended on the Victims' Compensation Fund, this is separate from the health care, it's compensation fund, it was felt that there was more than enough money in there, that we had more than enough money. This is based on what the doctors told us and everyone else. No one realized the type of cancers. These are dormant cancers that stay hidden for 15, 16, 17 years. So, all of us went to the wakes and funerals back in 2001 and even into 2002. And now, in the last several years, we're starting another round of wakes and funerals. There's these rare type cancers, which the doctors testified to yesterday, which have been appearing, and that's horrible. It's blood cancers, again, vicious cancers.
So, Congressman Peter King, look, a lot of these politicians today, they want to give free health care to people who are in this country illegally. Now, I know there's going to be a committee vote today, and going forward, who could be against this? I mean, is there any chance that this bill won't get passed?
It's going to pass the House. And again, it's going to be a lot easier this time. We already have 330 co-sponsors, so it will pass the House. The issue is going to be when they come up with what the cost is going to be. Those who want to find some excuse to vote no will say, well, we don't know if we have the money. We're not certain how we're going to finance it, which is nonsense. As far as I'm concerned, these are war heroes, and we have to find the money. It's as simple as that. But then when it gets to the Senate, we have to make sure that, again, the Senate, where there's only two Senate, every state gets two votes, and you have a lot of states which don't feel that they were really impacted by 9/11. You got a lot of states in the South and the West and the Southwest who feel this doesn't affect them, and all they see this is money going to New York and New Jersey, and it's a bias. It's a regional bias we have to overcome. And so again, when it goes to the Senate, my feeling is it'll probably get blocked a bit, and we have to make sure that it becomes part of some legislation that has to pass. They have to attach it to a bill that has to pass.
Last one, Peter, we'll let you on. The great Congressman Peter King here with Bernie and Sid was there yesterday at this 9/11 Victim Fund in D.C. You know, they opened up a memorial. They added to the 9/11 museum, and they opened a memorial to some of these people, a lot of these people, who have become sick and died. That was not a one-day event, we've come to learn, Peter King. It's now a 19-year event. And at this memorial, Jon Stewart was there, too. And missing that day, both the governor, Andrew Cuomo, and the mayor, Bill de Blasio, he was at the gym. You can't make this up. Think about that for a second. The governor and the mayor of New York not at that memorial. How sickening was that?
Yeah, I was down there that day with Jon Stewart, and Mike Bloomberg was there. Mayor Bloomberg was there. He ended up being the MC, basically, of the event, and he did an outstanding job. To me, it's inexcusable. How they could not have been there is beyond me. When you think of all the events that you see politicians at, cutting ribbons and marching and waving flags and doing everything else, that they couldn't be there. And by the way, it's a beautiful memorial. It's like at the south end of Ground Zero, and they call it the Glade. It's like a place of repose. It's supposed to be a calming impact, a calming influence, and it's dedicated to those who died or sick, who worked in the recovery, and they became sick after 9/11. And, right now, it's going to be just a matter of time before more people will have died from 9/11 illnesses that actually were killed at 9/11. I mean, there's thousands of firefighters suffering from 9/11 cancers. You can go to the same thing with cops. This last week at East Meadow, Long Island, a 49-year-old Port Authority cop died from 9/11 cancer. This goes on. If you follow it, almost every few weeks you'll see another 9/11 victim. It's horrible. And again, why they weren't there, that's on their conscience.
Yeah, you had Eric Swalwell and one other Republican congressman were not there. Just two, from what I understand. So in any case, Peter King, Congressman Peter King, you, sir, are a true patriot, standing up for these gentlemen that did what other people would not do. We thank you for that and that information you just gave us, Congressman King, and thank you for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show.
Thank you, and let's give a big congrats to Pete Alonso and a tremendous home run.
Big one, baby.
Good guy Mets beat the Yankees.
Yeah, number 22. Yeah, the Mets got that win. By the way, Peter King is so great. He's inspired me. And after spending last night, Bernard, with over 400 of Queens' finest politicians and donors, and I was approached by many of those folks, many, to actually jump into the political world. But I need your advice. So let's do this. Let's take a break. Let's come back and talk about whether or not my future, no longer in radio, but in local politics.
What?
Shut up. We'll be right back.
Bernie and Sid in the morning, 77 WABC.